I watched the other side's entrance and sigh, still searching for the best words with the naivete of someone who thinks there's a correct answer. Standing next to me is Claire. After what happened in the music room, she left without a sound, forgetting what had transpired in only a second without even allowing me to give my opinion on it. It was too late. She told me, then talked about going back to school and some other stuff. She invited me to go back with her, and although it took me a second, I said yes. However, despite her laughing innocently about it, it's obvious that she's unhappy with my answer. I have to say something before we part ways. It feels necessary, but she interrupts me as soon as I try to open my mouth and speak.
Thank you for accompanying me, Ciaran.
I inhale deeply through my nose and give up. Don't say goodbye so soon. I'll go inside too.
What? Why? What are you going to do?
It's a school. What in the world can I do? Homework? No, I just want to use the washroom. I'm already late for my next class anyways, so I'm going to take it easy in the meantime.
You know why, right?
You know the way.
Oh, I can't read today. You know the way, right? Good luck then. I gotta go since I'm in a hurry. See ya, Ciaran.
I like how they all have that nickname now. It's like, you're not Ciaran anymore, you're CR. Now we're used to calling him that too now because of them. I'm using the washroom, no luck needed. I can't finish my sentence before she's gone. She didn't even let me say goodbye to her. As I finish my duties, I hear the bell start to ring, so I decide to wait here for a little while until the students are done rushing around. It'd be a little weird if someone caught me and asked which classroom I'm from. Most people don't play hooky to go to another school on the other side of the street. I've already skipped 2 classes in a row, and by the time I get back, it'll be recess. Considering that, I'd prefer to skip the rest of the day and go home. When everyone's settled into their classrooms, I try to slip away, wondering what the stealthiest exit out of the building is. In my school, I would usually use the nurse's office window, but I'm not so sure that will work here, since there's nowhere to go from the backyard. Still, without a plan, I see one of the teachers heading in my direction, forcing me to turn back and look for another way out of the school. When I think I'm safe, I see another teacher going up the stairs not too far away from me. Is it that hard for these teachers to be on time for their classes, or what? This would all be totally normal if it wasn't for the fact that I immediately find myself surrounded by yet another patrolling teacher approaching me. This feels less and less like a school and more like Area 51. Without anywhere to hide, I stick close to the wall behind me until I suddenly feel a doorknob hitting against my kidney from behind me. I see this as an opportunity and I peek inside the small window attached to the door, praying that it'll be empty. But that's not the case. Inside, I find a normal classroom filled with students taking notes, but there is an empty desk in the last row. They're listening to the I can't start and finish my sentence. They're listening to the lesson of a teacher so old that I can't believe he's not retired. How old is this guy? He seems to have a rheumatism, and he keeps coughing while he writes on the chalkboard. There's no escaping now. I can't even think of a good excuse in case I'm found by the patrol, especially because of the incessant coughing of that teacher inside this classroom. And that's precisely what inspires me with an idea. It's so absurd that it might work, and under the huge pressure that's on me right now, I decide to put it into practice. I gently turn the doorknob, slowly opening the door as not to make any noise, opening up a small gap just big enough for me to get through. Everything happens in a second, and get inside at the same time that the teacher coughs, and with one finger, I manage to close the door, leaving it behind as I roll on the floor towards the last row of desks. I part the chair from the desk in a single agile motion, then I hoist myself atop of the chair like a snake slithering up a tree. I take my seat, hanging my head low in an attempt to hide from the teacher and the students in front of me, and I ensure in a quick glance that the door is closed just as I expect to not raise any suspicion. He's still in the other school, right?
Is he?
Is he? Because I can't tell
I thought he was at his.
Oh, I guess. I don't know, but the desks are facing that way. Because usually in the other classroom, in his school,
yeah,
the desks are facing this way and the chalkboard's on this side.
Yeah. They might be then.
Plan successful. My hands shake with excitement and able to believe that I've successfully pulled off such a feat. I'm better than Lupin or Batman or Waldo combined together. I'm a real god right now. My plan was perfect. No mistakes in anything. In its plan, actual execution, or even the consequence. Oh no. I'm sitting on my high horse when I look to my left and realize the one single mistake that I've made. The girl sitting next to me. So surprised? I'm amazed, incredibly amazed by how expressive some people can be without even speaking verbally. Why are you here? She doesn't even open her mouth. No sound is heard, but I can tell what she's saying as if she's shouting it directly out of her mouth. Explain yourself or die. Seriously, I'm freaking out. This must be the closest thing to telepathy in the whole world. I don't even mind the purple hue my arm is taking from her strong grip. I raise my index finger, asking Luce for a second. I lower my hand down to my pants and take out my notebook, opening it to a blank page, and I begin writing. I thought I was boring and predictable. I can't believe you came here to do this just because of that comment I made at the mall. Luce uses her own pen and writes on the page, although I do notice that at the end of her sentence she has a small smiley face, except it's frowning instead of smiling. Not really, but since I'm here, I can take this opportunity to tell you something. Tell me something? What? Can't you wait a bit for that, though? Once again, she adds a smiley to the end of her sentence, this time a face with a question mark over its head, more detailed than your average emoticon, really. I know everyone writes like this on their cell phones, but it's the first time I've seen someone do it on paper. Do you always add smileys to everything? What do you have against smileys, huh? I can't help but giggle when I see her start to draw something after her last sentence, but she crosses it out before giving me the notebook back and sighs with regret and shame. Nothing, they're cute. Don't be shy. I accepted that you're insane a long time ago. At the end of my sentence, I tried to add my own smiley, a face covering its mouth as if it's laughing at something. It's a pity that my artistic abilities haven't improved since kindergarten. It's hard to believe that my smiley has a shape in the first place. Luce ends up covering her mouth with one hand and holding her stomach with the other, trying to hide her unusual cackle so that nobody will catch us. What is this disaster? Now I understand why you chose to write instead of draw. As always, she accompanies her sentence with a drawing, this time with the silhouette of someone laughing on the floor. I'm surprised the teacher hasn't caught them yet.
Yeah.
That's not true. I can do better than that. I was just in a hurry. OTL. OTL? 1,000 lies. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. OTL, you know, an emote of a depressed guy sitting on all fours. The O is his head, the T is his arms, and the L is his legs. You're supposed to be the smiley expert. Well, excuse me, I don't know why, but I figured it was the acronym of something important, something that defines us. Forget it. In any case, let's get something straight. Drawing is too much for you. You know that. Drawing is greater than writing. I raise my chin as if to ask, what's wrong with you? Luce then amends her previous sentence, I'll bet in her own special way. Drawing is greater than writing. I don't know.
Is immensely greater than writing.
Oh, okay. Thanks for translating. I'm finished, I think, as we start fighting over the notebook's monopoly. From then on, we start a mute war between us where we fill several pages with drawings, circumlocutions, I can't read that, of insults and critiques of all different kinds. The acidic content of the spilled ink doesn't rust our enthusiasm, and our familiarity breeds our content to the point that we enjoy our competition to see who has more imagination in talking about the other. I'm barely coming out of this exchange unscathed, since the quality of my drawings is just laughably awful. So much so that Luce can hardly contain her laughter. It's one of those times where the less you want to laugh, the harder it is not to. During one of these fits, the teacher suddenly goes silent and intimidatingly gazes in our direction. We hold our breath with faces that anyone would declare guilty from seeing them, and then the teacher clears his throat and continues from where he left off, letting us breathe in peace once again. Look at what you almost did. I'm sure the entire classroom has already realized that you're here. What are they gonna think? Tell them that I'm the ghost of Christmas past, but I'm running a bit late. Why do you even care what they think? No, the only thing late here is your brain to everything. I'd like to see how you'd react in a reversed situation. We're going to graduate soon anyways. Why do you seriously care at this point, lady? Luz takes some time to think after reading my last sentence, this time replying without any smiley at the end. I'm always pretty worried about what others think about me, right? You must think I'm obsessed. Luz's face seems to relax, but her lips tense, cloaking a mood one could only describe as downcast. It makes me stop and question my reply. Since it seems inappropriate to continue joking and playing games, I decide to give her a clear and elaborate response. Who doesn't? If someone denies it, they're lying. You once told me that what others think is important because society is the reflection that lets us see our true selves. I agree with that, but it doesn't change the fact that sometimes we can be more careless when we know that we can't hurt anyone else, don't you think? A brief smile crosses her face while she's reading. She takes her time writing an answer, probably pretending not to leave out any important details. It's just that I've always clung to the excuse of having to fulfill everyone else's expectations because that way I can forget about what I actually want. My fondness of drawing isn't so much love for art, but a way to make my dreams take shape. It's for the millions of ideas and dreams that cross my mind, believing that somehow I can eventually live out all of them. Now, while everyone else is deciding on and forming their personas, I'm afraid of embarking on that journey. I'm scared of discovering that I can never become the person I dream of being. Especially because who I've dreamt of becoming is an incomplete idea, an assignment that has yet to be fulfilled, and ideas, like drawings, are always perfect in our minds, but they turn out differently on paper. Luz looks away while I read her note. I have to tap her on the shoulder to give her back the notebook with my reply. I think you should keep doing what you believe in without questioning your future, Luz. Because I doubt you can smile in your dreams as happily as you have while you were drawing. She blushes. She tries to write down her reply as quickly as possible. I can see the words, "It wasn't because," on the paper, but she regrets it and crosses it out, I guess. The bell rings, and the students around us start organizing their books while the teacher raises his voice to give us his final instructions before leaving. Stop passing notes. In the time it takes me to turn around to look in the bell's direction and then return to my original position, Luz stands up and pulls on my shirt, dragging me out of the classroom and into the hallway. Luz then drags me to an even farther hallway, and once there, she puts her hands on her waist and looks at me. Well? Well, what? You almost suffocated me. Why did you come here? You told me that you have something to tell me. Well... I scratch my cheek, trying to look surprised and also trying to buy some time. Nothing, it's just that I finished another chapter of my story, but I left it in my bag, so I'll have to give it to you at the library. Did you really come here for that? No, but since I was close by, well... Sneaking into your classroom was just something that happened. Luz shakes her head, resigning herself to my explanation despite being quite unconvinced by it. It's not the first time you've done something like this anyways. I expect anything and everything now.